Welcome back to another week of Jacked Up Recap. I'm Cody Lefkowitz, the voice of your Jackalopes, and this week we're going to be with goaltender Jon Flakne, one of the two great vets on this team. And, you know, you've gotten a lot of playing time over the last week. None of it was starting, though. You came in relief, and after those games that you had, you kind of joked to Mitch, just put me in 5 minutes into the first period. I don't even want to start anymore.
Yeah, yes, sir. Mitch and I were talking, and after coming in a couple games in a row there, I just decided, you know what, this is working out pretty well. Let's keep up the routine. You know, you need me 5-10 minutes in the game, just let me know.
And you played really well the first two games you came in relief. 20 of 21, ended up getting a victory on the second game, that one against Amarillo, and that was a big victory for the team. You ended up helping the Jacks jump ahead into sole possession of fifth place in the division and, you know, just trying to separate your guys between Amarillo now.
Yeah, at this point in the season, you really got to win every game. So every time you get a chance in there, me and the team are doing the best we can to get 2 points. And at the end of the day, that's what we're out to do. And when we can do that, whether it's pretty or not, we're going to do our best to do that.
Speaking of pretty or not, that Friday game against Topeka, not the prettiest. Hoagie started that game, gave up 3 goals in a matter of about 14 minutes. You came in, and without much defensive help, it seemed a lot of shots from the slot, 5 more goals, and they ended up winning 8-5, but the offense was there. It was just an off day for you and Johnny a little bit, and you guys don't have very many of those.
Coach said once that you can't have the best game every day, and unfortunately that is true. That day just seemed to be an off day, and our offense was there. Defense and goalie-wise, we seemed to be a bit off, but we truly made up for it on Saturday with a good performance and a solid victory.
And fantastic performance on Saturday, 6-1. You guys were waiting for that one game where you'd really break out and, show the division, show the league what you guys are made of, and it started Saturday with that 6-1 victory.
Yeah, it truly did. That was an unbelievable game, all the way from Johnny having a great game back in the net, the defense played solid, and forwards being able to find the back of the net 6 different times.
A guy that had really a great last week, who was named Player of the Week as well, Chase Studium, 8 points in only 3 games. I mean, that was some of the best that I know we've seen him play, and what does it show you in that?
He's had the potential all year, and he works as hard as anybody I've ever seen. And last week, I guess the hard work came together, and everybody looked upon him with favor, and he had an absolute great week. So that helped us out tremendously. I know I gave him the MVP jacket after Saturday's win, and that was a good relief for him to help us out and help us get a few points there.
Now, being in net, you guys have seen a bunch of different defensemen come through this door the last couple of months, really. A bunch of injuries right now, and you guys heard, I don't know if it was last night or this morning, Joe Kinsella is now with Austin. Good for him. A little bit more playing time, even though he was getting a lot here. Just a packed decor, though. How do your defensemen help you or hurt you in any given game?
Our defensemen are always out there helping us. We're going to miss Joe, but we wish him the best of luck in Austin. He was a great addition to this team, and I know he'll do the same up there. But no matter who we have back there, our defense are giving us the best we got. Savvy's out there blocking shots. Haas is out there doing everything he can. Cooper, coming back, adding a huge offensive presence back there on defense. And we just know night in and night out that they're going to be there for us, helping us out. And it's always a great relief to have this decor.
Now you guys are going to head into Corpus Christi this weekend, take on the Ice Rays. Very tough team in 4th place right now. You guys are 8 points behind them. Possibly the biggest weekend of the season coming up now, but you guys are 2-0 in Corpus Christi.
We're looking to keep that ball rolling. We're 2-0 in Corpus Christi, and we're going to go in there, and we have to have the mindset that we're going to do the exact same thing again. These are a big 4 points, and like you said, it could be possibly the biggest weekend of the year, and that as the year goes on, every weekend's going to get bigger and bigger now, especially towards the playoff push.
So now let's go on. Let's do a segment called Meet the Player. We're going to learn a little bit more about Jon Flakne, the goaltender for the Jackalopes. Let's start it off. You're from Maple Plain, Minnesota. You played in Minot for a little bit after playing in high school and then found your way down to Odessa. Talk a little bit more about your journey.
Well, I started off playing, like you said, high school hockey up in Minnesota, which I know isn't a very common path. But it worked for me, and I ended up finding out what the junior system was a little bit later on, and the chances and potential that it gave. And then ended up going out to Minot for a little over a half of a year, and then found myself in West Texas and been here ever since.
Been here ever since is a little bit it's a good thing because you've actually been here more than a year. I know we talked about it early in the season, the longest tenured goaltender in Jackalopes history now, just having to make it more than a year. And while you haven't played the most games in net, you've been around the most games either in net or on the bench. Really, the only guy ahead of you is Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm going to catch him anytime soon. I would love it, and maybe it'd be a great dream to think I could be where he's at one day. But other than that, I'm just happy that I've been here the longest and I've been able to contribute, everything I can, whether it's in practice, like you said, on the bench, coming in cold, or starting games. I just try to give it everything I got for the Jacks.
And another thing that Bucky's the only person ahead of you at in Jack's history is wins. He has himself 26 in Jack's history. With your win last Tuesday against Amarillo, you actually have 14 now in your 2 seasons. One season combined. The only person ahead of you is Bucky now. What does that feel like?
That's actually a pretty cool feeling. I didn't know that. Obviously, you want to win every game, but now that just adds to it of really wanting to go out there and get a few more points. And if I could catch that by the end of the season, that would be an awesome goal.
And, it really showed how much Gatto likes you and how much he likes having you around. Last year, at the end of the season, you were only with the team half a year. You had to compete with another good goaltender. But he relied on you in the playoffs. You got to see parts of all 3 games against Wichita Falls. Unfortunately, the offense wasn't there to help you out as much as you would like, but you really performed very well in the playoffs.
That kind of that started when I first got down here. From day one, we really worked on making everything a playoff push. So even during the regular season, we were acting like it was the playoffs. So then, therefore, once we got into playoffs, we could just continue with the same routine. We didn't need to change anything up. We didn't need to stress out about it. Me and the defensive core, we just did the exact same thing that we were doing for the last 2 months of the season, right on into playoffs, and nothing really changed.
And then there was a little streak this year where you were the only starter. Johnny Hogue was out with the injury. They brought in Eric Shook for a game, who played pretty well in his one game, which you didn't start only because you had pneumonia. But in that stretch, very well, over a 900 save percentage, a goals against average of just under 3. You were actually 4-3-2 in that span, and it was a hard span. You played against teams like Lone Star and Wichita Falls pretty much every game.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hoagie went out with an injury, and I guess it was just time to step up. And I knew that I was going to be the only starter and that we weren't going to bring in anybody else. So to me, it was easy that I really didn't have an option but to come in and support the team for that 9-10 game streak and really do the best we can every game to get those 2 points.
All right, now let's go on. Let's do some rapid fire questions. You've seen a couple of them, but you're still ready, not all of them. So let's start it off. Nickname on the team.
Hoagie gave me my favorite just last week, which was Johnson, based on my first name instead of last. So thank you, Hoags.
What's your favorite hockey team?
Minnesota Wild.
What player would you say that you try to model your game after?
When I was first growing up, Marc-Andre Fleury. He had the same pads as I did, and he was a good mix of size and athleticism, and I've been trying to copy that ever since.
Now, do you have any pregame routines that you have to try to get into?
Yeah, get here first. I'm always here at 4 o'clock. I throw in headphones. I do a lot of visualization in Piker's room, and I always ask Mitch to unlock the door first and grab 2 towels and go in there, and it's been working ever since.
What about any superstitions, whether it be before, during, or after the game?
No superstitions. I have enough worrying about trying to stop the puck. I don't need to add anything more to that list.
What's your favorite pregame food?
Definitely pasta. It's right up there. Sorry, Canadians. I know you would say pasta, but it's definitely pasta.
You're not far from Canada. You're pretty high north.
Practically Canadian myself,
What about a favorite movie?
Lone Survivor, hands down.
If you had to go on a dream date with anybody, who would it be?
Carrie Underwood in the back of my pickup truck under the stars, having her sing me, all the songs that she wrote.
What about if you could have a superpower?
Definitely being able to fly.
What would you say is, you're a very outdoors person. What would you say is your spirit animal?
Spirit animal, definitely like Timberwolf.
It's a Minnesota thing through and through.
It's a Minnesota thing, for sure.
What about if you went to karaoke? What would be your one song?
Love Story by Taylor Swift.
And then, do you have any secret talents, any hidden talents that the people at home may not know? What about any hidden hobbies?
For the last 2 years, all I've been trying to do is stop a puck, so I don't know about any hidden talents. But secret hobbies, like you said, anything outdoors, anything hunting related.
All right, thanks, John.
Thank you.
That'll do it for this week's edition of Jacked Up Recap. You can follow along all season on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, or at jackalopes.org.